What's going on, family? Peace, love, and happiness. Scott Vlad here with you all. Episode number 10. How's it going, everybody? I'm sending you all passion, purpose, love, peace, prosperity, joy, ecstatic bliss. I'm sending you all this energy. So take it all, embody it, embrace it, and create it and radiate whatever you want to see in this world, because we all create our own realities. So what's going on? I hope you all are doing well. I'm doing amazing. I went for a nice run, a little dip with my feet in the water today, and now I'm just looking outside my window. I got a different setup in here. I got the painting behind here. I rearranged my room a little bit, so there's more of an energy flow with the feng shui and the chi and the life force energy prana that's flowing out of my bedroom door, and it's easier to get out of bed. It's easier to maneuver my room, and I have more of like a studio setup with my keyboard right over there. We got my laptop here. We got my mic here. Everything's flowing. Everything's going, and everything's doing good. And I hope you're doing good too. That's why I send you all this energy, though, if you're not. And if you are, you can take it all, embrace it all, and love it all. So what's going on? Today I want to talk about my drug-induced psychosis that I had last April of 2020 that was coincided with my spiritual awakening. It was a huge eye-opening experience. It was a wake-up call. And I just want to explain that story. You know, I've explained on different channels, but I want to explain this story because this is my channel, my only channel that I'm using now, and it's an adventure. I'll go straight into that. The psychosis was an adventure. So we'll start with how it happened, how I started going psychotic, if you will, and what I did about it, what journeys I went on while in a psychosis, which there was a lot. It was a messiah complex. I thought it was Jesus, a bunch of stuff, but we'll get into that. Let's start right now. Here we go. Woo! So, to start off, I used to smoke cigarettes, like a pack. It's like a pack a day for almost 2 years. I think something like that. I used to drink alcohol 3-4 times a week, get drunk. I used to smoke weed nonstop every day and smoke the tobacco with the weed, like poppers. Like it got to the point where I was smoking like 200-300 a day just to function to some degree of level in my life, whatever, you know. And I'm grateful for those moments, because those dark moments lead me to my light moments, and then they lead you to the dark night of soul, and then you embrace it all, and then you integrate the shadow, the light, and then you become whole and complete and oneness and all of that fun shit. But so I used to do a lot of drugs and alcohol, and I was addicted. And once the first lockdown happened last year, I was like, okay, I want to do acid. You know, and it all kind of led up, like someone I was working with before that was like, yeah, I did acid before. And I was like, oh, acid could be fun. Yeah. But it wasn't more of like a spiritual trip. I wanted it to be like, oh, I want to get high. I was always looking for that next high, right? At some point I was snorting like fucking cough pills and whatever, crunched them up. It was intense, right? And so it was one day, I guess I got the acid. I got a high dose, 2 sheets, or 2 pieces, like 350 UGs each piece. I gave one to my drug dealer that was, I'm pretty sure, selling me Xanax laced weed. So that didn't help, because I was smoking a lot of that stuff and other weed and doing Xanax at the same time and staying up for like 3 days in a row. So lack of sleep, a lot of drugs, and the acid. It kind of created that drug-induced psychosis, obviously, right? So once I don't remember everything. I'm going to be honest. I don't remember everything that happened. Not in chronological order. I don't know. So I might just be coming from like different angles. But it was like a 2-week trip, 3-week trip maybe of psychosis all throughout the April 2020. So all I remember is that like I took the acid at some point. And then at some point I was rearranging my room, because I was the creator of everybody in the world. And I thought I was like, I'm Jesus. Shit. Because I saw the movie a few weeks before that. I don't know, what was it? It was Jesus, the movie God, or I don't know what it was called. But it was like the old movie where Jesus traveled the land. He sacrificed a goat, whatever. He lived in the village. I don't know what it was. But it was a movie, and I was like, shit, I look like the character in that movie. I look like Jesus. My hair was getting longer. My face was getting very symmetrical, thin. sleek. I had abs, and I was like, I'm the modern day Jesus. I'm a reincarnation of Jesus. So that got like instant like a trip. A Messiah complex fucking tripped me out. So I started rearranging my room. I'm like, oh shit, this has to go here. I was like, time bends in the past. And at the same time, I was watching like spiritual videos like Infinite Waters, Ralph Smart. I started getting into Aaron Doughty. And that didn't help, especially when I was very ungrounded, sporadic thinking, psychosis, that type of thing, right? So ultimately, when I got my room all like organized and clean, and like I put love in a bucket, I'm like, this is what we need in the new world: love, passion, peace, purpose, bliss, and harmony, and all that, right? Which we do need, but it was so ungrounded and sporadic, right? So once I finished that, I was like, shit, I gotta seal the deal with a nail through my hand. So I had like a 2-inch nail, something like that, and I put it through like some things so I had more stability when stabbing my hand. I put my hand on a cigar box that I actually have over there. I keep my crystals in it now, and I was like, this is it, Scott. You're fulfilling your prophecy, and you're gonna be embodied Jesus now. So I stabbed the nail right through my hand. Didn't go through all the way, which I wanted to go straight through the middle through my hand. And I was like, but no, it missed it. I don't even have a scar anymore, but it hit there, and it went in, and it hurt. But I swear, like once I pulled it out, and even before that, I felt so relieved. Like the energy just like, fuck, like it was released. Like I was possessed by demons, and like all the energy just balanced itself almost, and it released itself, and it was so almost like purifying and rejuvenating at that moment. And then I pull it out, I look at it, I screamed, and I guess my mom came upstairs, but she was going through a lot because her mom died. She had to fly to England for that, and it was a hectic time, especially with all the lockdown and the fake pandemic going on. But so I pulled the nail out. It didn't bleed for like 10 seconds. I'm like, oh shit, I can control when I bleed. I'm so powerful. I'm strong. And then it started bleeding, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, shit, I gotta wash it because it was gushing. So then I got in the shower, washed it, bandaged it up, whatever. And then I don't know exactly what happened in the order, but I ended up taking a Kate Spade blanket. I wrapped it around myself. I was wearing swim shorts, and it's pretty cold out in here in Canada. It was windy, it was freezing, and it was super cold. And I had a little bit more acid because I cut up in like 4 squares. So I only take 2 of them, then I took another 2 or whatever it was. And then I started walking towards this lake spot near my house. But obviously, like, during the time, it's like there's buffering space. Like, I'm, like, watching videos. I'm listening to certain music. But it's not like oh, this is nice music. It's like everything has a message for me that was so, like, everything had logic behind it, too. Everything had meaning. I was like, oh, shit, I need to go jump off here and stab this and do this and do this, do this. So I end up going to the lake. I'm walking down the hill with this Kate Spade blanket, waving it in fucking air. I got like beads around my neck and this necklace and jewels, whatever I'm wearing, swim shorts and a red t-shirt because I thought I looked like Jesus. If you look up like a picture of Jesus on Google, you'll see like that, and then I compare it to like a modern me version of Jesus. And I'm walking to the lake and I'm waving this blanket. It's getting windier, it feels like. I took another piece of acid that I put in tinfoil and I'm waving it. I'm waving this blanket. I thought like there's a bunch of black flies because I guess it was that time of year. They're all hitting my face. And I'm like, oh, they're attracted to me. I'm just letting it happen. They're all in my eyes and like hitting my face, and I'm like fucking covered, I swear. So then I make it to this spot where actually was yesterday. It's like a cliff area, and then there's a lake, and you can go down certain spots where the cliff isn't too high. But when you go down this one spot, right when you enter it's like a bike path, you go down, there's 2, it's fucking spray painted aliens, like some graffiti on top of this, it's a drain pipe that goes out into the lake, but it's high, it's about 15, 20 feet up in the air, and I was just sitting there for a while. I was like, okay, what do I got to do here? I was like looking at the aliens. I'm like, shit, yo, this is like modern day, I don't know what, like modern day Jerusalem or something. Like, this is the sea I have to part, and then I'm going to jump in. If I die, I'm going to somehow become resurrected in the sky and become an angel, and all the angels are going to come on earth, and heaven's going to be on earth, and all this stuff, right? So eventually I'm like, I got to jump in. And if I die, it's worth it for my sacrifice. That's the new deal. This is gonna usher heaven on earth, peace on earth, harmony on earth, love on earth, that stuff. So I take a run for it. I'm sitting for a while, then I'm contemplating. I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, shit, let's do it. So I run off, I jump off, I spin in the air with the blanket, and I just go crashing down. But it felt so like liberating. It felt so free, like I was embodying freedom and whatnot. But as I fall down, I'm like, oh shit. And then I hit the water. and then I hit the background because it wasn't that deep. And I'm like, oh shit, that hurt. I get up and it's wavy. It's like super dark, like gloomy. It's cloudy. It's wavy, the waters. And I think I'm going to get sucked out. So I get terrified. And because you can't hop up right there, you got to go all the way around to get out and whatever. And the water was high because the time of year. So I run to the drain pipe where the wall I jumped off of. And I scream my buddy's name because I thought like he was a person from the Bible, and then all my friends were different disciples or different people, characters from the Bible. I don't know, right? I never even read the Bible fully. I want to at some point just to take ancient wisdom, right? And I scream his name, thinking that that's connected to my house in the basement that he lives in, whatever it is, right? So that obviously didn't work. And then I go around to the edge and I climb up this dirt wall that's beside it. Luckily, I think there was like tree branches and stuff, and there was a lot of mud. My shoes fell off because I was wearing flip-flops. The blanket went away. So I'm just like super muddy. I cut my forehead off the drain pipe when I did that. So I was bleeding, but I didn't know until I got home. And then I climb up this wall. I'm like, this is what Jesus did. This is worth it because I'm going to be the savior of everybody. I'm going to have that Messiah complex. And then I get to the top of it. It's like 15, 20 feet. Like I said, it didn't do anything, right? I made it to the top. I'm like, okay. So then I start walking home. I'm freezing, barefoot, dirty as fuck, bleeding, cold. Yeah, it's freezing. And I start walking up the street just home. And I'm like, people are going to, even if they don't know right now, people are going to know that I'm Jesus. I'm the savior. I'm going to save everybody from all this. And obviously that didn't happen. So when I got home, whatever, I told my mom I showered. And then this is exactly where it kind of goes blurry for a few days, I think. But then she ended up flying to England for, I think, a month. She had to go for her mom's funeral, prepare everything, and all that kind of stuff, right? And grieve and mourn. And I didn't really have time for that because I was in a psychosis. I was like, oh, she's still alive. It's a joke, blah, blah, blah. It's a plan for me. I'm the king of the world. I'm Jesus, whatever it was. So then once I got to a certain point, I guess, when she left, I was all alone in my house. And it was like, I didn't speak to anybody through the whole time to that psychosis. So I'm in the house. I'm trashing my house. I think I'm in like a Truman Show experience, even though I don't think I ever saw the movie at that time. So I think everything's watching me. I think my windows are watching me. There's like a camera. And then I went on Facebook, and every time I would go on Facebook, it seemed like my friends on Facebook would post something about what I'm doing in my house. So I think I'm being watched. And it's like they know. They're like, oh, I'm on a reality show. Oh, this is lit. This is cool. It wasn't the case, obviously, but I thought it was, right? So I'm like trashing my house. I'm doing funny things. I'm stepping on glass in my house. I like was trying to light a light bulb with fucking my bong. I'd smoke it and then I'd put the light bulb over it, so then the smoke would turn on, and I had like these batteries set up, all this metal. And I was watching a lot of Joe Rogan, so I assumed like I had to reverse engineer a UFO. So I'm like doing shit on my bed with a bowling ball and mattress and these my fucking fans and shit, and I'm like thinking it's gonna like go flying, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And obviously none of that was the case. So then one night I had my window here. I had like it open for a few days, a blanket hanging out. So then one day I decided to climb on the roof. And it's like, it's not, I live in a complex, so it's not like it's easy. But I could have fallen and just died in my backyard. Like it's like a 25-foot, 30 drop. And I climbed on my roof. I had my machete. I had a vape. And I climbed all across the roof. And then I made it to the end. And I'm like, okay, I'm in a movie. All this is for a new movie that I'm going to be an actor that I didn't even know I was. But now everyone's going to come out. When I come home, all my friends are going to be in a group. And they're going to be like, oh, Scott, you're such an awesome person. You're Jesus. You're a movie star now. That wasn't the case also. So yeah, I made it to the end of the complex. I'm like, oh shit, I got to get down. And it's like 30-foot drop. So I'm hanging off like some Assassin's Creed type thing. I dropped my vape and I'm like, oh shit, I got to fall. I got to jump down. I tried scaling the side to land in a bush. I didn't. I just fell. But then I got back up. So I was like, shit, my legs didn't break. I'm like, I can do anything. So then I went and broke into this car wreckage place that's behind my house too, with my machete. I think I'm in a zombie apocalypse film. So I'm like trying to, these different cars, and this dude comes up to me eventually. He's like, what the fuck you doing? I'm like, I look at him, like, oh shit, maybe I'm not supposed to be here, maybe I'm supposed to fight him. Then no, I just dipped. I hopped over the barbed wire fence. I was like, shit, that wasn't part of the plan. Then at one point, I think a cop was like, hey, get back here. And I ran through, and then I came through my backyard. It was a whole journey, right? Experience. And the most like prominent one that I remember is I was arrested. So, and I'm still dealing with that court case now. I saw this house that was at the end of a street it was getting built, or it was a new house getting built by like a company called Planet Homes, like Plan It. but it's meant to be like an astrological thing, like planet homes and like new futuristic whatever. But people lived in it already. So one night I was walking by, I was like, yeah, that is my new house. That's the house. That's mine. So I walked down there. I just opened the front door. I guess I walk in and I'm like, shit, this is so good. And I had no intent to steal, no intent to break in because I thought it was my house. So I walk in this house. I'm like looking at everything. I'm like, oh, those are my bananas on the counter. Oh, that's my laptop. Oh, that's my mail. That's my fridge. That's my couch. So all I do, I think I put their slippers on. I sat on the couch and then I just enjoyed it for a minute. And then I walked out into the one back deck, but I walked through the window. I opened the window and I stepped through the window. And then I'm on the deck and I'm like, oh, this is nice. And I go back in, sit a little bit. Then all of a sudden I hear cops come in the house. They're like, get on the ground. I'm like, oh, this is my house. But I get on the ground. I get cuffed and I'm in like shorts and a t-shirt. And they're like, is this your house? I'm like, yeah, it is my house. They're like, no, it's not. They're like, there's people upstairs saying it's not. I'm like, oh, they're just my friends. I was like, is there jail? I'm going to jail, whatever it was. So then eventually I got kicked out. Well, they took me away. They brought me into the station downtown and they let me go though. But I was in the holding cell for a little bit, or I was in the car in a cell type thing. Because I guess whatever the fucking COVID, they didn't want you to go and whatever. So I'm there and I'm like, oh, I got to grab the shotgun out of their car. I'm like, nope, that's not a good idea. Then I'm like, okay, that's all part of it. They give me a sheet and then they say, read it, whatever. Then they took it back. So I didn't know what was up. I thought maybe I just got let go. I released, right? And that gave me the thinking like I'm a king. I have immunity to like crime and stuff and like the law and whatever. So that wasn't the case either, because then I found out later that year when a cop came to my door. He's like, yeah, you gotta appear to go get your fingerprints and go to court. So I got my lawyer dealing with that, and obviously it's going to be a mental health discharge, so no criminal record hopefully. But that was like that, and I was like, what just happened? So I walk home, nothing. I never thought anything about it. And then eventually I end up trashing my house. My dad came to check on me because my parents are divorced, but he checked on me and he's like, okay, I'm fucking pissed at you. Why the house trash? He freaked out. He called the cops, and I guess because the cops, or my dad knew, or my sister knew, whatever, that I had a machete, even though I actually left it at that house from days before that, whatever. They sent SWAT. That's what I was told. I didn't see them out there when I went, but supposedly there's like 30 different cops and like SWAT and shit. And they were just bored probably during the first lockdown, so they all came. But I came out in a pink thong with Kegel beads in my pants and a fedora on, and that's how I went into the ambulance as they took me to the hospital. And I was in there the whole month of May 2020, and that was basically that story, right? So when I came out, I was still a little like delusional, psychotic almost, and then I stopped taking the pills. But it wasn't because like, it's because I knew like I wasn't psychotic. I knew the whole time I went through a spiritual awakening though, to a certain degree. And then after I started doing research, I started realizing, watching videos, reading books, and I'm like, oh shit, that was just like all my layers of reality, they just got stripped away from the acid, from the psychosis, from the drugs, from the experiences and research and all the videos I watched. So it's like, okay, so I did go through something that like people go through. It was a very like mystical and magical experience, and I was very present, kind of ungrounded and sporadic thinking, but it was very ungrounded, and I was present though. It was quite enjoyable though when it happened, obviously. But after, it's like, no, it wasn't a good experience. But I needed that. I'm grateful for what happened, because now I'm more aware. Now I'm aware that like shit, there's more to this world. A lot is lies. A lot in the media and the mainstream, a lot that we've been taught about our lives are lies. So once we like transcend the old ways of living, we open ourselves to a whole new world of possibilities and anything. Like we create our own reality. Our mindsets change what we see in our life. Life is so much more than just a job, unhappiness, and just mundane, boring things. Like, yes, we have to still do like taxes and make money for a time being, and like do certain things in like the regular world. But we're not just here to suffer and to work our whole lives and not enjoy living, not eat that best foods, not create the life we want to live, right? And that was my whole like spiritual awakening, drug-induced psychosis type experience. And I mean, I'm not saying everybody that's going through a psychosis is going through a spiritual awakening, but it is quite like a magical, mystical experience. And as long as you're okay, right? As long as you're fine and like you come out of it, or like, don't take it like medical advice from me, right? Like I was in the hospital, but I realized after the fact, shit, I don't want to be on these meds. I don't want to live in this suffering state. And that's what really a spiritual awakening is too, right? Like when you suffer for so long, you're like, I'm fucking tired of this boring, suffering, painful experience of life right now. And I mean, yes, we still go through like certain pain, sadness, suffering sometimes, but it's being aware that, oh, it's not permanent. Oh, being aware that it's going to get better, and we ultimately create the life that we see, right? Within and without us, right? So that's my story. If you laughed, which everybody that I tell that story to, we're laughing, like they're dying, I'm dying of laughter. It's like it's a funny experience, right? Like there's like, that's basically what I remember. Like there's obviously like certain smaller aspects. Like I think I was wearing tights at the lake at one point, and like a pink shirt, like dancing around and like running through the forest a lot, getting grounded and like into nature and all that. And it's like facing my fears ultimately. And it's like I came out on top. I needed that. That was a catalyst for my awakening, a catalyst for me to stop doing a drug, stop these addictions, stop drinking, stop smoking, stop living in like I need other people to save me. I need other people to make me feel good. It was like I needed to go in. I need an introspective reality. I need to realize what I truly desire, what I truly want to create in my life, and how I can ultimately help other people, how I can be of service to other people while still being of service to myself, right? And that's that. Yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'd love to hear your comments down below on if you've been through a psychosis or like schizophrenia or like a spiritual awakening, anything like that. I'd love to hear. Thank you for tuning into episode number 10. If you want to subscribe, that'd be a fucking wicked. Thank you so much. With that being said, my friends, I'm sending you all peace, love, and happiness. Scott Vlad is out of here. Peace.